Continuing our series on beekeeping questions from my friend that is starting beekeeping imminently, and also your guys' questions. So the question today is, how many colonies should I start with, and how much equipment should I buy? And my answer to that question is no fewer than 2 colonies. And you're like, oh man, I was really hoping to just do one and, minimal investment because that's going to be expensive. Yes, it is going to be. Sorry. 2 colonies. And there are 2 distinct reasons why you want 2 colonies and no fewer than 2 colonies. You can get more if you want, if you really want to go for it. But if you're just getting into it, you want 2 colonies, and here's why. First of all, you don't know shit. And I don't know shit, even after having done this for all those years. But when you have relative comparison between this colony and that colony, you can say, well, that one is not like that one, and which one is doing better. You can see if there's a problem with one of them by comparing it to the other one. And that's kind of like the throwaway answer, but the real answer for why you need 2 colonies is that if you end up running into a problem, which you will run into a problem, you can fix it 99 times out of 100 by going into the strong hive and supplementing your weak hive. So a couple scenarios here. Let's say that you got a colony that is clearly fallen behind, right? It is not anywhere close to we'll call it hive 1, and hive 2 is behind. Hive 1 is pretty strong. Hive 2, not so much. It looks like it's got some problems and it's fallen behind. You can go into hive 1 and take some capped brood and move it right over to that weak colony. And remember, maybe you don't know this, maybe you do, but once a cell is capped over, that is a 0 energy input cell at that point in time. So nothing else needs to be done to that cell for it to have a viable individual come out of it. So by taking a frame or 2 of capped brood from your really strong hive and putting it into your weak hive, you instantly within a couple days have now supplemented the population of that colony big time. Each frame has 3,500 cells on it. So if you got 80% coverage, that is, and you put two in there, then you've just drastically increased the population of that colony. Your really strong colony probably doesn't need all those individuals anyway. And she's obviously doing a good job laying. So you don't want to set that colony back too far, but it can also help control swarming. So another scenario, you show up to one of your colonies, let's say hive 1 is doing a really good job and hive 2 is queenless and there's no eggs in there. It looks like a bad situation. If you had 1 colony, well, now you're going shelling out you got to go find a queen and you got to purchase her and you got to graft her into that colony without getting her killed, right? So you got a substantial investment that is going to go into doing that. She might die on the way there. She might get killed by the workers in the colony, right? Instead, you can go over to your strong hive, find a frame of open eggs that are new, drop them in that colony, and they'll make their own queen. They'll still be a little bit farther behind. You might still have to do some of that supplementation that we discussed earlier, but they'll make their own queen. And it's ready to rock at that point in time. Again, it'll be a little bit farther behind, but you don't have a time or major investment in fixing that colony versus like, oh, crap, that's a problem. Walk over to your strong hive. Oh, look, some eggs. Done. Another frame of capped brood. Done. And then come back in a month, and see if it's going well. So that is a substantially lower investment than the alternative. And if you have more than 1 colony, then that allows you to do that pretty quickly. All right, man, you've sold me on the 2 colonies. That sounds like a good idea. I'm going to go that route. How much equipment should I buy for each colony? Okay. Well, first of all, you need to determine whether you're going to run double deeps or you're going to run singles. If you're located in my part of the world, then it's not a bad idea to start doubles. If you're at a lower latitude like Virginia, South Carolina, stuff like that, there's really no reason to do that sort of stuff. I typically, because I have them, run double deeps for the first year of the colony. And then in the next year, I break those double deeps apart, and that's how I do my split. Okay? That's how I do it. You don't have to do it that way. So if you decided that you're going to go double deeps, then you do 2 deeps and a super for each colony for the first year. And that's your answer. They're probably not going to fill any more than that. And if they need more than that, then you can purchase that at the time. They're probably not going to do that. You should expect that you're not going to harvest off of that colony the first year. Maybe if it's a nuke, you might, but I would suggest that you actually leave that honey on for the first year anyway, so that it has a better chance of surviving the winter. So if you're going to do double deeps, then you're going to run 2 deeps and a super, and if they fill that, then cool. If they need more than that, then purchase it at a later date. If you're not going to run double deeps, then you need to purchase, I would say, a deep and 2 supers, and expect that they are going to get close to filling that. And that should be your overwinter condition, basically. Again, provided that it's filled. If it's not filled, then you need to take that off before you get to winter. But usually I tried to overwinter in at least a deep and a super, or 2 deeps, something like that. That's plenty of resources, especially if you're supplementing over the winter. I had some colony. Last year was a really weird year, and none of the honey was capped when we went into winter. So I just let them pack it on and said it called the year a wash. And I did not have a single colony that overwintered with less than 2 supers last year, because they just had a whole bunch of them. And sure enough, come through this year, and half of them didn't even touch sugar bricks that I set out them for them. So they had plenty to eat, no problems with nutrition over the winter. So that's kind of where you're going with your stuff. And here's the thing: if you overbuy, you're gonna use it eventually. I'm in a perpetual state of not having enough equipment. I go from crap, I don't have enough equipment to do X, Y, or Z, to crap, where am I going to put all this equipment? You can't buy too much.